Good morning. This is Gregg Weiss, Delray Beach Community Forum. We welcome all of our members. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today is our fifth installment of Meet the Candidates for Delray Beach Municipal Election being held on March 17th. And we're lovely downtown Delray today at Aloft. Aloft is one of our newer hotel properties here. Just a stunning backdrop of Delray Beach. And we're very proud to bring to you today Juli Casale, who's running for seat 2. So without further ado, Julie is going to be answering the 4 questions and giving a little insight as to why she's running and just her love and passion for Delray, and we're excited to have her. So Julie, would say a little bit. Good morning, first of all.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Good morning. My name is Juli Casale, and I am running for Delray Beach City Commission seat 2. I'm a 15-year resident of Delray Beach. My husband and I started coming here in 1998, and we loved it. I knew this is where I wanted to be. In 2005, we bought a home, and we've been here since. I'm raising my daughter here, and I plan on living here for the rest of my life, and I care about the future, and that's why I'm running. I am on the Planning and Zoning Board. I'm also on the Delray Beach Preservation Trust Board, and I am recently on the Homeless Task Force. And I've had the opportunity to both stand in front of the Planning and Zoning Board and to sit on the Planning and Zoning Board. And one of the things that I've noticed is that we seem to be looking at projects independently without great consideration for how they fit into the plan for the whole city. And I fear that maybe because we really don't have a vision for how our city should look. Basically, we're just, approving a project here, approving a project there, and then before you know it, it's going on willy-nilly, and then what does the city look like? We call it the village by the sea, but really, that's nostalgia. We are a major city, and I feel like we need to consider what is our destiny and what do we want our city to look like. In trying to answer that question, I looked at the comprehensive plan. I worked on the comprehensive plan to figure out where are we going. And the comprehensive plan basically dictates our future using data such as census data. As an example, the comprehensive plan indicates we will have an increase of population, 12,000 more individuals in the city over the course of the next 15 years. Wow. We're currently at about 68,000. And the comprehensive plan suggests that there are 2.1 individuals per household. So this equates to approximately 380 housing units incorporated into the city annually over the course of the next 15 years. With that in mind, the city also suggests through the comprehensive plan that the age range will be approximately in the 70s. And what I'm asking myself, and I guess what I'm asking you, is what is our vision? What would we like our city to be? I would like a walkable city. I would like a city that has more open space. I would like a city that is attractive to all ages. I would like a city that considers our quality of life over most everything else. That's my vision for this city, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to state that.
Excellent. So we have 4 questions.
Okay.
They cover areas from Delray Beach schools, economic development, and the last one has to do with neighborhood crime. Crime went throughout the city.
Okay.
So we're going to start with the first question. And the question that was sent in was, what specific ideas do you have? What actions would you take to create more opportunity for students here in Delray Beach?
Great question. Thank you. As you probably know, our standardized testing has gone down. The results are not great.
No.
We are not rated as well as we would like to be.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the City Commission cannot really have a giant impact on what goes on in the schools. But that being said, what happens before school starts and what happens after school can have as great an impact on students as what happens during the traditional school day.
That's very, very true.
And that is the area where I feel we could be most effective. So first and foremost, education needs to be equitable. Kids can fall behind in the first few years and never catch up. It's really upsetting. So first, we need to make sure that early childhood education is available to all kids in our city. That's number one. Second, we need to incorporate into our schools before school care programs and after school care programs that implement education. We need to have before school programs that provide food, after school programs that provide tutoring. We need to provide homework helper care. We need to provide apprentice type programs, and we need to incorporate math, science, and engineering. And I definitely think this is something that we can do, the community, along with the school system, along with the parents. There are so many retired individuals living in this city that I'm sure would love to go help in the school system. We have a lot of nonprofits. We have a lot of businesses. I think it's a collaborative effort with the community to get this done. The third thing that I think we need to do is support the families. It's a known fact that children do better in school with family support. So,
Absolutely.
and sometimes working parents cannot participate as much as they would like to. So we have to figure out a way to help working families participate in their children's school. And in a case where that may not be possible, we need to bridge the gap with mentoring programs. So mentoring programs that give the children the role model they need. Have you ever met anyone that's really successful that didn't have a mentor or a role model? So that's where I'm thinking we go, touching on those things. Working together with the school and the community and the parents, we can do great things for our children and their education. Thank you. That was a good question.
Yeah, well, no, I appreciate it. For a lot of years I've worked with Milagro Center and a lot of the local nonprofits here in Delray Beach, and you brought up a point about the food. When a kid goes to school hungry, they can't concentrate, they can't process, they can't focus. So,
can you when you're hungry? No.
No,
Exactly.
at 52, no.
Right.
If I'm hungry,
Yes.
yeah, I got you there.
It has to be considered with education. I agree.
So we're going to move on to economic development, and so we've picked out two questions that were submitted from economic development because they kind of tie into each other.
Okay.
And it's been probably, I would say, in the top 2 or 3 ongoing concerns, here in Delray Beach about not where we're at now, not all the successes, but where we're going forward.
Right.
So the first question. Now that Vin Nolan, Joan Goodrich, and Elizabeth Burrows have left, the Office of Economic Development is without a director and without staff. In a city of about 69,000 residents with a budget nearing $140 million, one could argue that nobody is steering the economic ship that is known as Delray.
They could.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are your thoughts on the need for leadership in the area of economic development, and what would you do to facilitate the process of filling these needed vacancies?
Great question. Another. So first and foremost, yes, I think that's one of the most important offices in the city. We do have a new city manager, and I imagine he's working to fill that seat. But I think it's critically important that we fill that seat with the right person, and this goes to the same position I have on development, which is, what is our vision? How do we fill the seat if we don't know what is the outlook and what are we looking for? And what we look at presently is we are attracting bigger businesses, BMW, Mercedes, Whole Foods, but smaller businesses are the businesses that coincide with the tourism. So there's a number of factors. First and foremost, what I would do is try and identify what are our areas of need and what are the outlooks for the future. This is what I see. Downtown businesses on Atlantic, east of Swinton, are struggling. And I've spoken to the merchants. And the reason that they believe they are struggling is the lack of parking and the parking meters. First and foremost, we need to look at the parking contract. I think the add-on fees create a scenario where the contract is actually costing the city money. Considering that in combination with the fact that the merchants feel they are losing business, we may want to reconsider the meters. When you look at the businesses west of Swinton, there's not enough foot traffic. So they need more development and more foot traffic in that area in order to enhance their businesses. Lastly, we have a lot of small businesses on Congress Ave. They were the original mom and pop businesses that were found on Atlantic. It became too costly and they had to move. So we need to protect them. So with respect to what I would do in consideration of filling this seat, I think first and foremost, we need a vision for what we want, and then we need to find a person who's a go-getter, who's going to go get it. You cannot sit and wait, you have to create. We are an amazing city, and we should be creating our destiny.
Very, very good.
Thank you.
So the tie-in to that is the next question, and it gets a little bit more granular, a little bit more specific. And the question reads, on the subject of economic development, what specific ideas do you have? What actions would you take to spur economic growth and diversity?
Great question. So in order to spur economic growth and diversity, we need to do three things. We need to provide a diverse housing styles, and the new comp plan looks to do that. We need to be a safe community, and that's something we can continually work on. And we need to have our schools provide a good quality of education, and again, that is something that we can work on. Again, we are 15.91 square miles, right on the Atlantic Ocean,
Yep.
and we have direct beach access. Some of the cities locally don't have the same direct beach access. We are in a city and a state where we are very friendly to businesses, and we are centrally located between two airports.
Yep.
So we are a great place to attract particular businesses. One of the concerns I have is that we're primarily, if you look at a city that's primarily residential and tourism, like Miami, they're not very well rated. So we need to draw. Manufacturing and innovation are usually the two things you see in a city that has long-term resilience and isn't necessarily affected by the ups and downs of the market. It's not likely that we're going to gather a lot of manufacturing,
No, not
but
so much in Delray,
innovation
yeah.
is something we can definitely reach for. Biotech, information tech, I think innovation is where it's at.
Well, we have Scripps, Max Planck, a hop,
Yes.
skipping away, and the local universities right in our backyard.
Exactly.
So that
So we're
sounds
doing well.
Yeah. Well, we definitely have the ingredients for it.
Yes,
That's for
I
sure.
agree.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you touched on a couple of your answers, public safety, which leads us to our fourth question. And this is a question that obviously doesn't have any real easy answer. If it did, we'd have taken care of it years ago. But I'm going to read it as it was submitted, and then
Okay.
we can kind of have a conversation on this. So, Neighborhood Scout, it's a service that tracks crime both regionally and also nationally. They recently gave Delray Beach a safety ranking. It's actually a ranking of 7% out of a possible 100%. Okay, so yeah,
Not good.
not good. So they found 42.6 crimes per 1,000 households, and of that, 5.9 violent crimes per 1,000 residents. How important is resident and visitor safety, and what are some of your ideas for improving safety throughout Delray Beach?
Safety is part of my platform. I'm sure it's everybody's concern. There's obviously. So I actually met with Chief Sims a few months ago when I decided to run to just talk about what are the issues in the city, where we stand, and I was also concerned, with how are we helping the homeless population and what are we doing about that. So it's worth noting that in those statistics, that 46, I don't know.
So it's 42.6 crimes per 1,000
Right.
and 5.9 violent.
Okay, so most of those crimes are car thefts in car, taking things out of cars like change,
Sure.
and property crimes. So I guess that seems like a startling piece of information, but really, we're a rather safe city. Now, what can we do to stop those crimes? Because that is upsetting that we're ranked so low. Probably community policing. If most of the crimes are theft of property and theft out of car, like getting change or stealing something from a car, we can easily solve those with better lighting. Some of our communities still do not have street lights. That's surprising, and that is enticing to a criminal who wants to take something out of a car. Further, community policing programs can definitely cut down on those numbers. But I was really startled by that, so I did stop at the police station yesterday. No, just to inquire.
Okay.
And we, the city, forward a report to the FBI annually. It's a uniform criminal report. And so it's a piece of positive information on that, is that historically our numbers always go down, our crime rate numbers. In 2016, we had a very slight uptick, but we recovered from that immediately the following year. So Delray Beach, we are pretty safe.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Well, yep. Again, it's it's one of those things that ties into
Couldn't
their
agree
students,
more.
economic
Everything.
development, everything, quality
It
of
really
life.
ties into everything. I agree with
100%.
you. It's a priority.
So this is the point in the interview where you get to give a closing statement.
Thank
It
you.
doesn't have to be anything other than just, again, you mentioned what your vision was,
Yes.
but this is just your opportunity to address
Thank
a few
you.
thousand people out there in social media land.
Great. I'll just elaborate a little bit on some of the things. I've expressed my vision, but some of the things that I think we can do rather immediately that would have a positive benefit is synchronizing the streetlights. Right now our streetlights are not synchronized. It would involve county and city, but we can do it, and that will enhance the flow of traffic and make it seem like we're not having so much traffic problems that we are. And then also the side-by-side construction that's getting approved. I think we need to start looking at the approval process and the timing. Sometimes construction gets put off, and then you find two big projects going on at the same time in close proximity, again creating a gigantic problem on the road. Parking is another issue, and I think I touched on how I'd like to address that. We can also ask developers to help us in the short term, and businesses by providing some parking in the evening when their businesses are closed. I don't think that would be, a giant problem. And then more green space. I'm a giant proponent of increasing the tree canopy. In order to increase our city's tree canopy by 1%, we'd need to plant about 100 acres. I would like to implement the tree ordinance, and I'm just throwing it out there that the one thing my opponent, Bill Bathurst, said he would do when he got elected was a tree ordinance. It should be really easy because I think it's something that's really popular, and I would be likely to do that.
Awesome. Julie, we really appreciate you taking time to come out with us and meet at Aloft, and we wish you a lot of success in the campaign.
Thank you for
so
having
much.
me.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.